Welcome back to the Mega Sports Show. Hope you enjoyed the last interview we had with Jumbo Ike, the entertainment enthusiast who has dabbled into sports promotion with the hosting of the boxing event on the 26th of December. I told you of the big fish we have in the house, and it's time for us to get to meet him. I'm talking of no other than the pioneer Secretary General of the Paralympic Soccer Federation, Para Soccer Federation, sorry, and of course, he's a former president of Nigeria Traditional Sports Federation, and currently is the president of Nigeria Archery Federation. He's also the Deputy Secretary General of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, and of course, the Assistant Secretary General of the Africa Archery Federation, and Vice President of the African Archery Federation. So this is a man wearing many caps. It's an honor and privilege to have in the house this morning MOHAMMED Abdullahi. It's good to have you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. My pleasure being here with you too.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, MOHAMMED, you're wearing so many caps. I wonder how you're able to combine all of that. And I know as a former athlete, this is what you live, this is what you breathe, sports and sports administration.
Sure.
Yeah, and going by your antecedents, talking about what your positions have occupied in the sports administration over the years, it's no surprise that you are where you are presently, Deputy Secretary of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, which for me is one of the highest positions when it comes to sports administration in the country. So I'll start with your present portfolio as the president of the Archery Federation before we dive into the NOC. The archery, which is your main, which is your baby somehow, because it's quite a new sport in Nigeria. So how is it doing?
Well, I would say so far so good. This whole journey started in 2016 when we took over the mantle of leadership of the federation, and of course it was at the lowest ebb when we took over. Graciously, I'm happy that I had a good team, a team of management and board that has propelled us to get to where we are today. We started, from a very humble beginning, and then we strategically located the military and the paramilitary agencies, talking about the immigration, prisons, police, fire service, road safety, and then of course to the military proper, the Army, Air Force, Navy. We have a very large number of them today that are participating in these sports. And of course, from there we delve down to the state level. Graciously today as it is, we have close to 16 states that are actually practicing archery, even at competitive level. Then of course, that is still not enough. We have clubs that are doing so well in Abuja, in Lagos, Abeokuta, Kogi State, and 2 other states. And of course, when I begin to look back and I say, well, between 2016 today, what have we done? Where did we start from, and where are we at the moment? It gladdens my heart to see that Nigerians really love, the game of archery. Traditionally it has been part of our culture, right from time immemorial that you go hunting, and this is, hunting taken to another level. Exactly. It's no longer
becoming a competition.
Yeah. So today athletes are being employed, coaches are also being employed, to project and promote the game of archery. So we are glad at that, and we still feel we have not started.
Okay.
We still feel we've not started because the gospel has not gone round. Groups are crying.
Yeah, 16 states. There are still more states to cover.
Yeah, we still have a lot of.
But you've done well, if you ask me, considering where you took over. 2016 it was about 7 years ago, and now we have 16 states and the number of clubs taking over. Also, I'm aware that you had a training recently for, I think, coaches, for technical officials. You've done a lot of that. I'm aware of that. Sometime last year you had that.
We do that from time to time. Different categories of training, training for beginners, practical and theory, training for the trainers, coaches, who will of course help to build their capacity in the conduct of the sport, training also for coaches you know, that are involved in this game, and of course technical officials like the referees, judges, and the rest of them. We virtually will not do any 12 months without having 2 or 3 training programs. And of course, we've been encouraging most of our coaches and the technical officials to go for international trainings. Also, we have the online courses, we also have the physical courses. So we are not lagging behind. Incidentally, in West Africa, archery, of course, is almost a household name now, because this is my region. I am the president of even the West African Archery Federation. Yeah, so I keep in touch with all the affiliated countries like Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin Republic, Niger Republic, Mali, Burkina Faso, including Nigeria. We also have Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau,
and they all have striving federations.
They all have striving, archery federation. They were, in fact, most of them were there before us. Okay. It's just that Providence smiled at us, and today we are where we are, as a nation. And how I even emerged as the president in charge of West Africa and the vice president for Africa.
That's a Nigerian thing, if you ask me.
Well,
where are we looking at archery now?
Yes.
Olympic sports?
Yes.
Do we have the capacity to compete at the Olympics?
Well, I will tell you this. We took our time. We were not in a hurry to go for any international competition because we just started. So we took our time to do a lot of training, a lot of consultation, a lot of convergence that we did over time, from Lagos to Abuja to many other places, trying to see that this game is on ground. And today, like I said, proudly I will say to you that we have a very significant and large number of followers, participants, and even sponsors, to an extent. But I tell you this today, that by the time we said, okay, let's even go and test the waters. Yes, we've done all these years, trying to build a team. So we must go out there to test our, capacity. And then we went to South Africa, Pretoria precisely, and had the first African championship, game in Pretoria, in South Africa. And eventually, in the compound bowl, Nigeria came second. Wow. For the very first time we'll be participating. Wow. So, that goes to speak volume. Before then, we had the West African Regional Championship, which is called Tizokata. One took place in Côte d'Ivoire. We went there, got 1 silver, 1 bronze. The last one that took place in Benin Republic, we had 2 bronze medals, 1 silver. 2 silver and then 1 bronze medal.
So we're coming up.
So we actually, like I told you, it's a progression. We started from West African region. We had done 2 competitions in West African region. That is our immediate domain, and that is the only competition we can do outside Nigeria. So we started from that level, and now we took it to the next level, to the continental level, and we came second in compound bowl. That goes to speak volume. And of course, we're happy and encouraged that Mr. President had to write to congratulate the federation through the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. So it shows that we are being appreciated. It also gave us a pat at the back to say that, look, you guys go ahead and do what you're doing. So this is where we are today. So talking about chances for All Africa game, that would have been the next window. If we have the opportunity to go for the All Africa games, it means we could come back with gold and even silver and bronze medal. So by the time we do that, then of course we can now be looking up there at the Olympics or any other international.
The next target is the All African Games.
Exactly, or any major global events. We're good to go. But that is not to say that we do not have athletes out there that will go to the Olympic, Commonwealth Games, or any other major event that will win gold medal for Nigeria. But I'm telling you about the athletes that we've groomed locally here. Okay. We have Nigerians in Ireland, we have Nigerians in London, we have Nigerians in the US, we have Nigerians in the Germany. Yeah, that are competing for various clubs, where they are. So if today we say, okay, we want to blend, let's have the foreign breeds and let's have the local breeds, I bet you there's no way we'll go to Olympic without coming back with a medal. So, but we believe we should start and build up gradually. And that's why we concentrated in building a base here. And
that's interesting.
I'm happy the institutions
are really because I understand you draw most of your athletes from the military and paramilitary. And you know, we've over the years we've said, okay, the military.
No, sorry, but eventually the guys who went to South Africa, with none of them are in any of the military or paramilitary, and they were able to do this. You know, so
that's interesting. So where I was going was that the military have always produced sporting stars for sports, football, athletics, boxing especially.
I know
and now with archery coming in, it means that our military personnel are also having things.
They really have taken the center stage in terms of promoting the sports. The Navy has a fantastically established archery club.
Wow, that's interesting.
Same thing goes for the police. The police started long ago with us.
Wow.
Just as we started, the police entered the ring and they started, and it's an established sport today, catalogued in the police games.
Wow, that's interesting.
So every biannual police game archery is there. Navy also have joined the queue. Every Navy game you have now, archery is there. And so on and so forth. So we're just building up.
Well, so you were in South Africa recently, like you said. You emerged as this Vice President of the African Archery Federation.
That's right.
Another feather to the cap. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how would this impact on Nigeria, your position as Vice President at the continental level?
Well, obviously, it means I have been saddled with a very Herculean, a responsibility. And of course, we have no option but to try to live up to expectation. Believing that my colleagues in the region, West and Central Africa, will be able to tap my back and say, hey, gentlemen, let's move. Immediately after that election, we sat down and we had a brief discussion on the way forward. We already have our rolling plan for 4 years, which is being looked into by the continental body, where I also belong as the Vice President. We're taking up issues, within the region. We are proposing to divide the region into 4, as in talking about West and Central Africa. Unfortunately, for the Central Africa, we do not have much teams like the West has. So, but, we've zoned, okay, Central Africa becomes one region. You have Chad, you have Congo, and 2 other countries there. Then here in West Africa, you have the region of Niger Republic, Nigeria, Benin Republic, and Togo as one region. Then you also now have Senegal, Guinea-Conakry, Guinea-Bissau, and Burkina Faso as another region. Then Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, and then I think one other country as another region. So with this, we want to now have regional heads, sub-regional heads, who of course will coordinate affairs within their region and move it to us, and then we will look at it and see if it's implementable, if it's viable. We delve into it, and then of course whatever we are going to do finally goes to the continental body, and this is what we are looking at. But again, where does the bulk of the whole load start and end? It starts and ends in Nigeria. So it starts and ends in Nigeria, and of course whatever we are going to do, we'll be given a Nigerian color.
Exactly. And
this is one of the advantages. Some of the events will be hosted here. When events are hosted in your country, of course, it improves your economic status. Exactly. It also improves your political strength and diplomatic, standard. So most of these activities are coming to Nigeria. Training program will start from Nigeria. Competitions also will begin to take place in Nigeria. We have never hosted any international event, but now, of course, we are going into hosting friendlies, opening doors of collaboration with some embassies, and trying to also get across to the markets to see how we can mop up whatever stipend we can, and then have an event to take place in Nigeria. Yes, I would have sat down and waited for maybe somebody else. If somebody, of course, like my predecessor, every time he hosts any event, he makes sure it's done in Cote d'Ivoire. He is from Cote d'Ivoire, and of course, whatever he does, like I told you, the first competition we went to was in Cote d'Ivoire. So this time around, they have to shift
to Nigeria. So that's good. That's for me. That's already a gain for us. Yeah. Well, someone talk about. I've segmented this interview into two parts: the archery and then the NOC. Because, like I say, you're wearing many caps.
Really?
You're also the deputy secretary of the Nigerian Olympic Committee. That's another whole ball game altogether. So we'll talk about that after this short break. So we'll go on this short break. When we return, we'll continue our discussion with Mohammed ABDULAHI, who is the president of the Nigerian Federation and also deputy secretary of the Nigerian Olympic Committee. Stay with us. Welcome back. Still the Mega Sports Show, reaching you on Sports Extra channel, on Grand Sports Extra channel, right here on the TSFA platform. We're still here talking with Mohammed ABDULAHI, who is the president of the Nigerian Archery Federation. He has spent the first part of this interview talking about archery and development of archery in the country and of course in the sub-region and in Africa, because he's also the vice president of Africa Archery Federation. He's also deputy secretary of the Nigerian Olympic Committee, and that's where we're going to delve into in the next part of this interview. He's still very much with us in the house. Mohammed, NOC now. Certainly had your elections. Went to that rancor. Everything went smoothly. Are you setting an example for the federations that are under you?
So to say, well, we thank God. I have so far served the first tenure as the Deputy Secretary General. And this time around also, I still said, okay, let me test the water and repeat the class. And of course, to the glory of God, I got back unopposed.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a sign of level of confidence, haven't you?
Scoring 40 over 40, because the entire vote we had was 40.
Okay, that's interesting.
It went on without rancor. The entire election went on without rancor. But there is no politics without, skirmishes. But of course, this is a mature, setup. Nigeria Olympic Committee is a fraternity that is established to help monitor and, of course, to serve as technical, organization in advising the entire sports sector in Nigeria. Any sports administrator would want to belong to this Olympic fraternity. Olympic committees in any country is like the apex body of sports.
Mohammed, let me cut you short there, because I want us to be as much practical as possible. Olympic Committee, for some people, they just feel that your relevance comes into effect when there's an Olympic. Close to the Olympics, every 4 years, maybe in the next 1 or 2 years, you come into effect. What actually, in the interim, when there's no Olympics in the immediate future, how do you contribute to the development of sports in the country? In respective countries?
The Olympic Committee of every country is like the gateway, for sports development, because they help to monitor the activities of every federation. They also help to advise the minister and his ministry. The Olympic Committee stands in there as the entry point into Nigeria and out of Nigeria. It does not start with the Olympic Games and end with the Olympic Games. That's what most people believe. That's what we need to disabuse their mind. For you to go to the All Africa Games, you need the Nigerian Olympic Committee, because we are the entry point.
I know that at some point the country has to hand over the athletes to the Olympic Committee.
Not at some point. At every point in time, Mr. President will hand over the athletes and officials to the Nigerian Olympic Committee, and we package the entire team out there, take them out there and make sure they are back and safe throughout the game.
But in terms of grassroots development,
in terms of grassroots development, I tell you that we have a very solid structure. We have different commissions that are into, looking into the development, constraints, advantages, and of course different issues that has to do with any sports federation. We also help to monitor the grassroots development. What are your deliberate grassroots development? Because that is where it starts from. When you groom an athlete, you take him to the next level, he begins to compete, and of course from that level he becomes a popular athlete, he becomes famous within the country, and once that happens, then you will now be forwarding the athletes to us, Nigeria Olympic Committee, through the ministry, and say, okay, we want this athlete to represent Nigeria in boxing. So we have the technical department, the technical commission, we have the sports and environment commission, we have the educational Olympic commission, education and culture commission, we have got the marketing commission, we have the ethics and privileges commission, we have the Olympic Africa commission, several commissions that are manned by experts. So at any point in time, at a fingertip, we will give you the right person to advise you as a federation, to even advise and monitor you as an athlete, to expose you as an athlete to the international world. Even if the federations have problems, the international federations get straight to Nigeria Olympic Committee. That is the entry point, and that of course is the exit point for Nigeria as a sport sector. So this is the critical role that every Olympic committee plays in their individual countries.
Having said all this now, Nigeria's performance at the last Olympic Games, better than in recent times.
That's right.
Because of improvements we've had. And
That's right.
what are we looking up? Does the Nigerian Olympic Committee have specific programs in place targeted at ensuring better outings at the Olympic Games?
Well, I would say this. As a federation, you have your peculiar, issues. And of course, for you to graduate an athlete to go to the Olympics, there are build-ups. And these build-ups have to starts with your training, your trials at your federation level, and then the federation level take you to the next level. And of course, what we now do is to ensure that is this athlete qualified to have some incentives from his IF, from his international federation. If he is, we will stand in there to ensure that athletes get to the next level. That's one. Two, Olympic solidarity funds are there. There are several athletes in Nigeria today that are enjoying that leverage for, getting scholarship. And as they go to resume school, cash is given to them to support them. And having done that, what we now do is to monitor that athlete, ensure that that athlete is in the right place at the right time and doing the right thing. And these are some of the things that we have, to handle as an organ of the IOC. The IOC, of course, monitors what we do. So it's a triangle. You build up from the base and get to the top. So it's from bottom to the top.
So the Olympic Solidarity Fund just mentioned has to do with those grants we used to hear that athletes receive.
Yeah, sure. It comes through the Olympic Committee.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Mohammed, you've had a lot of time with yours. Before I let you go,
like you said, the build-up for the last Olympic. Yeah. When we returned, yes, of course, the Japan Olympic was. We had better results than what we had in Rio de Janeiro.
Yes.
And of course, Rio de Janeiro was also better than what we have in 2012 in London. So you can see there's progression, even though it's not to the appreciable level that we expect the standard of Nigeria to give up.
What are we doing to ensure better performance?
Yeah, what we're doing, graciously, I am happy, and I still give kudos to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Sunday Dare, who of course came up with some lofty ideas, and today we can see the results. The results are just staring at us. We have the stadiums improved in Lagos and Abuja. We also have athletes now adopt an athlete principle, policy, which of course is working out for us today. I will look forward to other agencies and institutions joining the queue, because like we had a deliberate plan. Nigeria Army, Nigeria Police, Nigeria Customs, Road Safety, they are and the Civil Defense, of course. They have a very big stake in sports, and they've been doing so well. So this adopt an athlete policy should not be jettisoned even after the exit of Honorable Sunday Dare. Rather, we should take it to the next level. Let the Army come out and say, okay, we have 4 athletes that are qualified to go for Olympics. Leave the funding of their training tours, leave their health care issues, the kids and everything, leave it to us. Nigeria Army is not too much for the Nigeria Army to do, because Nigeria Army has a physical fitness department for sports. So if we have 4 athletes or 2 athletes that will be able to give us medals, and of course the budget from the Ministry of Sports may not be enough to take care of all this, the Army should be ready to support and collaborate with the ministry, and that is what Sunday Dare has put in place. I just hope we take this to the next level. If we can sustain that, different agencies, different institutions like Dangote and Baba Ijebu did in Lagos, the stadiums are very good now. Nobody could use Abuja Stadium for a very long time, but today any kind of match can take place there. So private-public partnership, and of course sponsorship will take us there.
Wow, thank you so much, Mohammed. Always a pleasure having you. We've talked a lot, so much, and I'm sure that our listeners have been better enlightened about the situation of sports in the country, particularly about archery, and of course generally about how sporting federations and how athletes are prepared for major international competition. So once again, I want to thank you, Mohammed ABDULAHI.
Hope you oblige us when we
call on you again.
No problem. I will always be available.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
It's still Mega Sports Show on the Grand Sport Extra channel on your DSTV platform. The show continues after the short break. We'll be serving you Knockout, which is a boxing show. So enjoy it.